Devon Allen looks good. The Oregon freshman starting to close well. Here comes Allen, the freshman. Is he going to challenge Harris? Look out, freshman. Who is this weapon?
Hey guys, this is Devon Allen, 2016 U.S. Olympian and former Duck. And we're here today doing a little bit of throwback on some of my old races. Today we got the 2014 NCAA title coming up. I think this 2014 season is, some would argue the most improved season by an athlete. I opened up my season at 14 flat, like earlier that year in March. And then every meet I ran a PB. Then this race right here was like the climactic part of the season at 13-1. There's a lot of different factors that played into that. I knew, going to this race, I was super confident that I was going to run well and win, just leading up with all the training I was doing and how well I was doing in practice. You kind of just know that you're getting better and I just ran 13:27 and I felt way faster and a lot better the weeks leading up to this race. But coming off football that year, early in the season, I was just a little bit, bigger than I wanted to be. I was just over 200 pounds, trying to play college football as a freshman. I broke my wrist. And so I ended up redshirting the football season and sat out for about 12 weeks because, I could re-injure my hand if I got hit or whatever. Realistically, got a little bit sloppy, gained some weight, and I was just a little bit out of shape and stuff like that. So my season didn't start how I wanted it to. But once I got fit and got into shape towards the end of the season, and kind of clicked, and I knew I was going to run fast at this specific meet. Definitely a good field. This field, I think, was the fastest field in history. Obviously, when I won that race, I broke the NCAA meet record, only for, Grant and Daniel to break it last year. But I think this was like the first time there was 3 or 4 guys that ran 13:20 or faster in a college race, which was pretty good.
Into the box now is the men's 110-meter hurdle.
Okay, so yeah, leading into this race, we got the announcers kind of announcing all of us, getting ready in the blocks at the set. Real quick, I'm going to pause it there right before we go into the set. Wayne Davis has been known to be a good starter. So has Eddie Lovett in lane 3. He was the indoor record holder at the time. In my head, everybody that was going to be, close, no offense to anybody in the race, but everybody that's going to be close is going to be to my left, right? So, it's kind of just like in my head, I'm like, okay, I don't need to really look around. I can just kind of peek left, and that's where everybody's going to be. And we go into set, gun, get a quick start. I'm going to pause it here at the 3rd hurdle. If you go back to the start, right here, Greg Marr right next to me, we're kind of close. It's me and him. We're kind of close. I think we bump arms a couple times. Hurdle 3 and 4, we're like very close with arms. In my head, I'm like, okay, I got to clean it up, kind of keep his right arm tight so that we don't get like too locked up because he's a left lead leg. So, his lead arm is the one coming back. My right arm, since I'm a right lead leg, would be coming forward, so we could easily get like hooked up there. And if you watch a lot of hurdles, you'll see that happen, sometimes as well, just like obviously lead legs that are close to each other get hooked up because their arms are not really in sync. So that's kind of something I was thinking right there. And obviously around hurdle 4, it's pretty much a, 4 or 5-man race right now. Me, Greg Marr, Eddie Lovett, Alik, and Wayne Davis, all, lane 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Kind of, I start to press on towards the finish. And obviously I come off the last hurdle pretty well. I'm going to go back to hurdle 9 and 10. One of the things that I've always been good at, just in general, sprinting, hurdling, I've always finished well. So, I knew if I was in the race, the last couple of hurdles, like going over this 9th hurdle right here, and then going over the 10th hurdle, I was going to have a chance and I could run off the hurdle usually better than anybody. And, you see that in a lot of my races, even like 2 weeks later at USA's, I won the race by 1,000. It was pretty much a race off the last hurdle. So, going to that and, I win the title, and I'm super excited, obviously, because like any athlete, we spend, a lot of our time to train well and compete well. And, I pretty much won the pinnacle of my race, at the time, because I hadn't run at USA's yet and I hadn't run the Olympics game yet. So this was like the biggest thing I could do. And it's kind of funny because I haven't seen this version of this race before. It's like, who are you, freshman? Yeah, where did that come from? If you look at my progression throughout the year, I ran 13:40 something at a meet, maybe Pac-12s when it was cold in Pullman, and then I ran 13:27 down in Arkansas a couple weeks later. So I was definitely progressing to this. Obviously, this is 110 faster, and dropping a tenth of time is tough. But I think I was definitely ready to roll there. And right after this race, I was pretty juiced up, and I think we had made the final in the 4x4. We ran that earlier that week, and I think we found out that day or something that we got DQ'd. So this is my only race. So this being my only race, I'm glad I won it. Just being able to do this at Hayward definitely gives me an advantage. Obviously, a lot of people are rooting for me just because I'm the Oregon kid, even if they didn't know who I was. I had a lot of my friends there at the meet as well, and a lot of people watching. My family. So just being able to do it at Hayward Field, it means a lot. That sealed the title there because we had a couple guys, Sam and Mac and Ed Cheserek, who were killing it. Those guys that were doing well, and we scored somewhere like 80 points to win. And it was a big deal for me. National title, in my event, and then national title as a team is pretty special. Post race, there was kind of like a running joke that I think maybe Jill, who was the director of ops, or Coach Johnson, was going to let me know, like, hey, we got the NCAA title wrapped in the bag. All you got to do is score 1 point, so that means pretty much don't fall and get DQ'd. But they didn't say that to me, which is good because I would have been like, oh, man, as opposed to just running and going for the win, which I did there. So, going into it, Coach Cook, and I were super confident with, just how I've been looking leading up the last month going into the meet and just the number of races I was progressing and getting faster every time. So, yeah, I was very confident going into this race. Obviously, it's at Hayward Field, so I had a big advantage with that being my home track too. So kind of, it definitely helped me secure the dub. Thanks for watching me kind of throw back into some of my old races when I was at Oregon, and go Ducks.